Like and subscribe right now, or you're going to have bad luck for the rest of the week.
They say there's something unique about every person, but looking at some, you might involuntarily think that they got the whole unique package. And then there are those who just take your breath away, in every bizarre sense. From the dirtiest man to a successful person with no arms and legs, here are 10 odd and bizarre people you won't believe actually exist. Number 10. Amou Haji. When a man says cleanliness brings him sickness, it's fair to imply that he's probably not had his bath in a while for fear that he'll fall sick. It also raises eyebrows to his sanity. This is the fate of Amou Haji, an 80-year-old Iranian who is known as the world's dirtiest man. Haji lives in Dejgah village in the Southern Iran province. He feasted on animal poop and cigarettes and had his last bath 60 years ago. His abode is a hole in the ground that resembles a grave because he says it keeps him connected to life. A decent haircut is also impossible for someone who hasn't had his bath in a long while. He burns his hair over an open flame and has an old helmet that keeps his head warm during winter. Reports say Haji adopted this lifestyle after he faced an emotional setback as a youth. He gets angry at the sight of a healthy meal, so the best he could do for himself was to live in isolation, leaving his family and friends on the outskirts of town. Number 9. Heather Beale. Next up, we have this bizarre white mom. Heather Beale, an Alabama mother of 2, has the most unusual superpower of all. In an interview, she admitted that she's addicted to drinking paint. She told in 2014 that at the time she had drunk 3 gallons of paint since her first experience 3 years before that. She said in the interview, "As it's going down your throat, it feels very nice and warm, almost like a thicker version of warm milk, but obviously it's got that very strong chemical taste, which is perfect for me. If you think that stops at home, you're wrong." Miss Beale said that she prefers the paint in marker form and goes in the hardware store to feed her habit. Every day she takes the cap off one paint marker and drinks the contents. She even demonstrates her drinking paint in a camera, and she is almost actually enjoying it. Number 8. Mahendra Arwar. Coming in at number 8 is the heartbreaking story of Mahendra Arwar. The 13-year-old from India suffered from a rare condition known as congenital myopathy, an inherited muscle condition. The main impact that this condition had on Mahendra is that his head hangs at a 180-degree angle, meaning that he could not stand or walk on his own. Throughout his childhood, Mahendra visited multiple medical experts in order to try to improve his posture. Finally, he met Dr. Rajapalan Krishnan, a trained spinal surgeon who planned to operate to change the angle of Mahendra's head and neck so that he could hold it upright. The surgery was partly paid for by British mother Julie Jones, who heard about his condition and helped raise $15,000. During the operation, discs were removed from his neck and a metal plate was put in. The operation seemed like a success, however, he sadly died 8 months later. His death was not related to this surgery. What a tragedy. Number 7. Michael Lotito. Michael Lotito was a French entertainer known as Monsieur Magneto, or Mr. Eats It All. Throughout his career, Michael consumed all manner of non-consumable objects made of glass, rubber, and metal, which he would often accompany by downing mineral oil. One of his most impressive feats was consuming an entire Cessna 150 airplane, which he ate in small bites over the course of 2 years. There were a couple of things going on here. First, Michael appeared to suffer from a condition known as pica, a disorder characterized by the appetite for non-consumable foods like dirt, rocks, and metals. But what makes Michael truly notable is the abnormally thick lining in his stomach and intestines that made it possible for him to eat sharp metal objects and consume toxic substances, which would have killed a lesser person. Number 6. Dede Kuswara. Dede Kuswara is just a fisherman from Indonesia, but he is known all over the world. At some point during his youth, he scraped his knee, and so began his lifelong struggle as the world's famous tree man. After his accident, his body became covered with abnormal growths that were especially prominent in his hands and feet. Because because of the root-like growths on his extremities and the bark-like patches on the rest of his skin, his condition caused him to be known as the tree man. His body is incapable of stopping the development of these growths, so they become larger with time. Dejgah suffers from a rare disease known as epidermal dysplasia vericiformis, also known as Ludwigowski-Lutz dysplasia. This disease is a hereditary autosomal recessive skin disorder. As a result of this disease, Dejgah has a heightened susceptibility to human papillomavirus, also known as HPV. These conditions are very easy for the common person to contract. It has been said that up to 80% of people may be infected with the virus without showing symptoms. For over 20 years, Dejgah's case has confused and intrigued doctors and scientists, but no one has been able to cure it yet completely, although he underwent multiple operations to remove warts. Number 5. Aya Ortegren. A lot of people around the world have problems with Barbie simply because the doll does not match the looks of most women around the world. However, there is one person whose legs are actually very similar to Barbie. Her name is Aya Ortegren, and she's a bodybuilder. She has gained a lot of attention because her legs are incredibly long compared to her overall body size. She's 1.72 meters tall, but her legs alone are 91 centimeters long, which is more than half of her whole height. That's, in fact, very similar to a Barbie doll. So, next time someone tells you Barbie can be real, you can just show them a picture of this bodybuilder. But of course, they should also make more kinds of Barbies that represent more women around the world, not just the one bodybuilder who actually looks like her. Number 4. Gurkari Bronco Blekwe. With a massive 4.5-inch long tongue, YouTuber star Gurkari Bronco Blekwe unofficially boasts the world's longest tongue. The 20-year-old captured the attention of the world by posting online videos of her tongue tricks. She didn't notice her unusual capabilities until her friends dared her to lick her eyes with her tongue. Try that out now. Did you succeed? She tried it, and to her amazement, it worked. You've probably heard that it is physically impossible to lick your elbow, right? But no, Gurkari has proved this myth wrong. She loves to show off all the things her tongue can do, but doesn't fail to tongue lash people who tell her that her tricks are disgusting. When she began posting her videos, she got more than 1 million YouTube views, with people encouraging her to do more. She is said to beat Nick Stober's 3.98-inch record. Still, she'll have to officially submit an application and have her tongue measured by a Guinness adjudicator before she'll be named the human with the longest tongue. Number 3. Nabzeda Lebanina. After a hectic day at work, we usually have a warm bath and go to bed. We expect to get up the next morning to continue where we stopped. For Nabzeda Lebanina, what felt like a normal cycle lingered on for 20 years. In 1954, she cried herself to sleep after one of the numerous verbal battles with her husband. During her long sleep, her family was so worried that they took her to a psychological hospital attached to the Medical Institute of Dnipropetrovsk. After a rigorous examination, doctors realized that her vital organs were functional, although her pulse was weaker and temperature lower than usual. She was later diagnosed with schizophrenia because her symptoms were similar to Kukulkan, a man that spent almost 20 years sleeping. Number 2. Annie Hawkins. If you think you have issues handling your breast, you may want to say a word of prayer for Annie Hawkins Turner. While shopping for an ideal bra may be difficult, for Annie, it's rocket science. This Georgian breasts measure a whopping 120 zzz, and she can sleep on her back. Going by that standard, a girl should start developing breasts at puberty, starting from age 8. Annie first developed breasts at 5, and at 9, her breasts had grown to a 36D. Worried about the situation, she visited the hospital for an examination. She was later diagnosed with gigantomastia, a condition that involves a progressive growth of breast tissue. Every day, her breasts continued to grow. She continues to hold the record of enormous natural breasts since 1999. After sharing a photo of her gigantic cleavage on Twitter, she gained a massive 16,000 new followers. Her condition is somewhat problematic, even though she has scooped millions from it. She needs a bigger airline seat when flying and must enter only specialized cars. Although her doctors encourage her to undergo an op, the mother of 2 says she wouldn't want to mess with nature. Number 1. Nick Vujicic. Not having arms can be challenging, but not having legs and not having arms can make someone's life quite impossible. But nothing seems to stop Nick Vujicic, a man who was born with a condition called tetraomelia syndrome. This rare disorder, also known as phocomelia, is known for the absence of arms and legs. Nick has been able to rise above all the challenges that came with this, and sadly his problem started at an early age. Nick says that his mom refused to see him or hold him when the nurse brought him to her when he was little. In fact, it took a while for his parents to come to terms with the situation and deal with the fact that God had a plan for his life. On top of his already challenging life, the toes on one of his feet are fused. What do you think about this list? And who shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.